Have you ever stopped to wonder if that little green icon on your phone is actually the savior of the music world or its most sophisticated secret villain? It is a wild question, right? We all use it every single day without thinking twice. It is just there, like the air we breathe. But the way we consume music today is either a miracle or a heist, depending on which side of the industry you are on. We have gone from the days of saving up $20 to buy a single plastic disc to having over 100 million songs tucked away in our pockets for the price of a mediocre sandwich. It is absolutely insane. But before we dive into the high-stakes drama, the billionaire boardrooms, and the celebrity feuds, we have to look back at how we actually got here. Because trust me, it was a messy and chaotic journey. Picture this. It is the late 90s and early 2000s, and the music industry is essentially a burning building. People were not buying CDs like they used to because a little thing called the internet had just handed everyone a digital crowbar. Enter the era of Napster, LimeWire, and Kazaa. It was the dark ages of piracy. You would spend 3 hours downloading one single Linkin Park song only to realize it was actually a computer virus that would melt your family's desktop. Or worse, it was just 30 seconds of audio followed by a clip of someone screaming. But for the record labels, this was not just an annoyance, it was a total apocalypse. They were losing billions of dollars and they were desperate. They were suing anyone they could just to make a point. The industry was angry, scared, and honestly, completely clueless about how to stop the bleeding. Then, out of the snowy landscapes of Sweden, comes this tech genius named Daniel Ek. Imagine a 20-something kid walking into a room of terrifying music executives. These guys were already on edge, watching their empires crumble, and Daniel walks in with a pitch that sounded like a total fantasy. He did not want to sell songs. He wanted to rent access to them. His idea was a legal, lightning-fast streaming service that was actually better than the pirate sites. He realized that piracy was not just about the money, it was about convenience. But there was a catch that made the suits in the room want to pull their hair out. Daniel's too-good-to-be-true solution relied heavily on a freemium model. To the old-school industry establishment, the word free was like a curse word. They wanted people to pay for every single track, just like the good old days of vinyl and cassettes. The tension in those initial licensing deals was thick enough to cut with a knife. How do you convince a label that has been burned by Napster to trust another digital platform? It took years of intense negotiation, arm twisting, and a lot of Swedish persistence. The labels were terrified that they were signing their own death warrants by letting their music go for free with ads. They were basically betting the entire future of the music business on a startup from Stockholm that most people could not even pronounce yet. The world shifted. We moved from ownership to access overnight. Remember the days of flipping through a massive heavy CD binder in your car? Or that heartbreaking feeling of your favorite disc getting a scratch and skipping during the best part of the song. Now, we have every genre, every artist, and every weird niche podcast right at our fingertips. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. It is honestly hard to imagine going back to the old way of buying albums one by one. But wait, because there is definitely a dark side to this digital utopia. While we are all out here enjoying our personalized Discover Weekly playlists, there is a massive storm brewing behind the scenes. You see, not everyone is happy with this new world order. Despite the ease of use, some of the biggest superstars on the planet absolutely hate what Spotify has done to their art. Rumors say the payouts are a joke, and the power dynamics are even worse than the old days. Why would someone like Taylor Swift or Tom York go to war with a platform that supposedly saved the business? Is the algorithm actually a puppet master controlling our tastes silently? The shiny green surface is starting to show some serious cracks, and the messy side of the story is about to get very loud. The conflict between Spotify and the world's biggest stars wasn't just a minor disagreement, it was a full-blown war for the soul of the industry. You guys remember 2014, right? That was the year Taylor Swift dropped a nuclear bomb on the streaming world. Just as she was about to release her massive album, she pulled her entire catalog off the platform. She didn't hold back either. She argued that music is art, and art is important and rare. And rare things are valuable. To her, Spotify's freemium model was essentially telling fans that music shouldn't cost a dime. It was a power struggle that lasted for years. For a long time, if you wanted to listen to her hits, you had to buy a physical copy. Can you even imagine that level of commitment today? But Taylor wasn't the only one stepping into the ring. Enter Tom York, the Radiohead frontman. Now, Tom has never been one to bite his tongue, but his critique of Daniel Ek's creation was next level savage. He famously called Spotify the last desperate fart of a dying corpse. Talk about some serious celebrity shade. He felt like the tech giants were digital middlemen, siphoning off the lifeblood of artists to line their own pockets while giving back nothing but crumbs. For these massive stars, the battle wasn't just about the money. It was about the principle of who gets to control the gates of culture. They feared a world where music became just another utility instead of a curated experience. Let's get into the juicy details affecting the millions of indie musicians, the pocket change scandal. We've all heard whispers that streaming pays poorly, but when you look at the math, it is enough to make you want to throw your headphones. We are talking about tiny fractions of a penny per play. On average, a stream might net an artist somewhere between $0. 0.03 and 0.005. Do you realize how many times a song has to be played for a creator to buy a cup of coffee? We are talking millions of streams just to reach a basic livable wage. It has created this weird vacuum where you are either a global superstar or you are struggling to keep the lights on while your music is heard by thousands. And speaking of those streams, are we even the ones choosing what we listen to anymore? This is where things get a little spooky. Enter the Discover Weekly algorithm, the ultimate digital puppet master. It tracks every skip, every repeat, and every weird late-night genre rabbit hole you fall into. While it feels like a personalized gift, many critics argue it's acting as a silent gatekeeper. Is it helping you discover new art, or is it just feeding you more of the same to ensure you never close the app? This shift has also led to the TikTokification of music and the death of the traditional album. That cohesive 12-track journey we used to love, it's on life support. Because the platform's algorithm heavily punishes skips, artists are now incentivized to write songs that hook you in the first 5 seconds. If you don't grab the listener immediately, they move on, and a skip tells the system your song is low quality. Songs are getting shorter, choruses are coming in faster, and the art of the slow build is disappearing. It is all about creating that one viral snippet. But wait, because there is one layer to this mystery. Have you heard the whispers about Payola 2.0? Rumors are flying about Discovery Mode, a feature where Spotify offers a deal that sounds like a Faustian bargain. They will push your music to more listeners, but for a lower royalty rate. It is a high-stakes game that has many people wondering if the free and open world of streaming is becoming a pay-to-play playground. The tension is reaching a boiling point, and the story only gets crazier from here now. If you spend any time scrolling social media, you have probably noticed the massive divide between casual listeners and true music purists. On one side, you have millions who love the convenience. Can you blame them? Having every song ever recorded in your pocket for the price of a fancy lunch is an absolute steal. But on the other side of the digital screen, a war is raging. Fans are constantly arguing over whether using the platform is actually ethical support for creators. You see threads where people feel genuinely guilty for streaming an indie band instead of buying physical vinyl. It is like we are part of this weird collective guilt trip, right? We love the tech, but we hate the thought of our favorite singers being broke. While we are enjoying our daily mix, indie musicians are on TikTok sharing their royalty statements, and let me tell you, it is a depressing sight. You will see a creator reveal that 10,000 streams in a week only paid for a sandwich at the airport. It is a struggle where the middle class of the music industry is disappearing. Creators are crying out for change, but with the current system, it often feels like they are just shouting into a void. They are forced to become full-time content creators first and musicians second just to get the algorithm to notice them for even a second. Everything changed when Spotify decided to become more than just a music player. The Joe Rogan controversy marked the moment Daniel Ek steered the ship toward becoming an opinion powerhouse. Suddenly, it was not just about the tunes. It was about massive exclusive podcast deals worth hundreds of millions. This pivot caused a huge ripple effect. We saw legendary artists like Neil Young pull their music in protest, and for a few weeks, it felt like the platform might actually crack under the weight of the celebrity boycotts. It raised a massive question: is Spotify a tech company, a media outlet, or still a music service? The lines are getting blurrier by the second. and many fans are feeling left behind in the shuffle. But if you think the podcast drama was big, wait until you hear the rumors about the AI takeover. There is a lot of chatter that Spotify is looking to replace expensive human artists with AI-generated mood music. Think about those lo-fi study beats or relaxing rainfall tracks you use to sleep. If the platform can fill its most popular background playlists with music they basically own, they do not have to pay royalties to anyone. It sounds like a total sci-fi villain plot, doesn't it? Imagine a future where your Discover Weekly is just AI-generated tracks with no human soul behind the notes. The speculation is flying, and it has musicians absolutely terrified for their future. So what is the final verdict? Is Spotify going to remain the undisputed king forever? For years, they have seemed invincible. But there is a new predator in the water, TikTok Music. With the way TikTok already controls which songs go viral, a dedicated streaming service from them could be the first real threat to Daniel Ek's empire. Or maybe we will see a massive shift toward decentralized platforms where fans pay artists directly. The music industry has been disrupted before, and history has a funny way of repeating itself every decade. We went from Napster to Spotify. Who is to say the next big thing isn't already being coded somewhere right now? Ultimately, the power is in our hands. If your favorite artist left the platform tomorrow, would you follow them, or have we become so addicted to the convenience and that perfect algorithm that we would just stay put and find a new favorite band? It is a tough choice, and the answer says a lot about the future of art. The little green icon is not just an app anymore. It is a mirror reflecting how much we value the music that soundtracks our lives. What is it going to be? The artist?